Heroes abound. If you love heroes, you might also love to play the hero in your own life. Do you like to solve any problem as soon as it comes up? Do you find yourself often swooping in to save other people from bad things that might happen, or to teach them stuff they really, really need to know so that more bad things don't happen? Maybe this drains your energy a little bit, or perhaps you experience almost a high as you're going around fixing, saving, solving, and helping. A lot of us who are helpers get hooked on helping. And sometimes we use that tool in areas where it doesn't necessarily serve us or others. In fact, it's tremendously disempowering. I know that's so weird because what we're trying to do is empower others, right? But sometimes what we're really trying to do non-consciously is to temporarily relieve our own suffering. Today, you're going to unlearn everything you ever learned about heroes from the movie Superman, or maybe you love Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. And we're going to learn how you're allowed to help, save, solve, and fix in a way that is deeply empowering to yourself and others, that does not drain your energy, that actually gives you a huge sense of aliveness. You are also allowed not to help. You are allowed to be powerful and yet to make conscious choices about where you use your power. This is part 3 of our deep dive into the drama triangle. Welcome to the hero episode. Let's get started.
Aloud. When you were born, you were whole, perfect. Then somewhere along the way, you learned that parts of you were not allowed here, and you began to chip away at yourself. What are the pieces of you that you've put into the basement? The parts of you that we cannot see anymore, or that you cannot even remember? What are the ways that you, without even knowing it, are eroding your own aliveness, your creativity, and your well-being? And how can you reclaim the wholeness that is your birthright? I'm Dr. Caneel Joyce, and I'm here to join you in exploring these questions and many more you didn't even know you were allowed to ask. You are allowed to grow. You're allowed to dream. You are allowed to be exactly who you are and to become the next version of who you want to be. Start your journey of exploration with me right now on Aloud. Aloud. You are allowed to be whole.
Welcome to the show. Aloud is an experience for you. It's a coaching experience, it's a learning experience, and it's a place where you can come and rest into knowing that you, if you stay present, will simply emerge on the other end of the episode as a greater leader, as a leader of your own life, as a leader who can influence others in a way that brings you a greater sense of fulfillment, meaning, flow, creativity, joy, and aliveness. It sounds too good to be true, but it is. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to continue the journey of gaining self-awareness. And we are going to be learning specifically about being a hero and what that means, how heroing actually is a form of perpetuating drama and powerlessness in our own lives and all around us. You, my friend, are taking another courageous step into your journey towards improving yourself as a leader and a human, and greatly enhancing your experience of being alive. I wanted to give a special shout out to somebody who left a review over the Christmas holiday, and I wanted to recognize you. Thank you so much for leaving a review, Bitters the Cat. This is a review that came in on iTunes. And by the way, if you haven't yet subscribed on iTunes, go in right now, hit subscribe, and get ready to leave me a note about something that touched you or request a specific topic. I love reading these, and I definitely use them to shape the content of the show. We do that all of the time. All right, Bitters the Cat says, learning about drama and how to spot it has opened up a lot of doors for me. I highly recommend everyone to get to know the drama triangle, and you'll see things differently in the best way. Oh, couldn't have put it better myself, Bitters the Cat. That's how I feel too. That's why I'm so grateful that all of the work of the Hendricks Institute and the Conscious Leadership Group and David Emerald's work has all come out into the world. And as soon as I learned it, my life changed forever, and I could never unsee what I was seeing. Today, you're going to begin to learn how to see hero behavior in yourself and others. the hero mindset. And this is part 3 of a series. So in episodes 12 and 13, we dove deep into the personas of victim and villain. And we even actually have some quizzes helping you understand and identify which are your favorite ways to play each of the roles in the drama triangle: hero, victim, and villain. You can find those quizzes, other content such as tools, worksheets, coaching exercises, more information about the drama triangle, guides to coaching yourself and others. All of that is on caneel.com/podcast. So go there and you can actually download the freebie for this episode around being a hero. There you will also find links to episodes 6 and 7, which were the initial episodes where we introduced the drama triangle and learned about it overall in episode 6. And then in episode 7, we began to learn how to shift out of drama. So today we're going to really get good at spotting heroism, right? Heroing is that mode of drama where we are seeking relief from suffering. And we may often believe that we are seeking to relieve others' suffering. The key thing here is what we're actually doing is we're seeking temporary relief. As a hero in drama, we are seeking temporary relief from our suffering or the suffering of others. And the key word here is temporary. Why is it temporary? Well, the focus is on making the pain go away. It's not on resolving the issue permanently. There's an unwillingness to feel feelings that goes with every flavor of drama, and the hero especially loves to avoid feeling feelings. So in hero mode, we might be obsessed with fixing, saving, solving, helping, curing, teaching, improving others and other things. Or we might be really interested in just numbing out. We might start engaging in behaviors that don't serve us, certainly don't resolve any issues. And some of our favorite ways to numb out and hero ourselves actually might be the fixing, saving, and solving, or it might look like us blankly staring at the television screen, staying at work later than we need to, fiddling with email, drinking alcohol, getting in accidents, or making a bunch of mistakes all over the place that have you needing to solve a bunch of problems all around you, giving you little small victories and the thrill of that. But in the meantime, numbing you out from the looming issues that you actually need to address. Do you relate to this? If so, it's okay. It's totally human. You are totally human and lovable. All of us fall into hero mode at one time or another. It's a part of life. It's a natural coping mechanism for when we are experiencing a sense of being threatened by something. And often what we might be threatened with in this mode is feelings. And if you think about it, emotions themselves, if I'm trying to avoid the feeling of, say, sadness or fear, or even love and compassion. If I'm trying to avoid those feelings, what is a feeling really? Well, ultimately, it's a body sensation. How do I know I'm feeling fear? Well, when I'm feeling fear, I'm going to typically feel that right in my stomach, and it's going to feel tight. My diaphragm is going to actually tense. My breathing will become more shallow. My heart might race. I might clench my hands. I might feel cold in my extremities. Those are all body sensations. So if you think about it, the reason that we hero and we get really busy in our lives or we get really numb is that we're trying to avoid a body feeling. That's it. We're trying to avoid a somatic experience. And yet we get ourselves into a lot of drama this way, and we really create drama around us. Now, if I keep saying drama and that's not making sense to you, please go back to episode 6 where we first explored the drama triangle together. And there you will learn about how hero, victim, and villain are roles that all need each other. They are, we as humans, we often dance between those roles many times within 1 minute. It's completely natural and normal, and we're pretty much hardwired for falling into this drama triangle. And so our work as conscious leaders is to recognize when that's happened and to make a conscious choice to step out. Easier said than done. Actually, this can take a lifetime of work to really be masterful at staying above the line and out of drama. So right now, don't worry about staying anywhere. In fact, if you do that, it's most likely going to misfire. Critical thing about drama is the second that you think you're right, that nobody should be in drama, including yourself. The second you believe you're right about that, you are already in drama, because the way we get into drama is we think we're right. We believe we're right about something, even if it's that we're wrong. We believe we're right, that we are wrong. It's mind-blowing, I know. So I want to talk to you about what heroing looks like so that you can recognize it in yourself. And then when you do, you can begin to actually see this with a form of humor and play that is really helpful for helping you to shift out of that mode. Also, it's helpful to wake up to the costs of your own heroing. So before we even get into recognizing the specific kind of personas that might show up in hero mode, I want you to be thinking about how do your patterns of seeking temporary relief and heroing, how do those create suffering for yourself and others? And how in your life have you found that actually trying to make problems go away makes it actually impossible to resolve them permanently? When we're in drama, issues recycle. And when we are in presence or in our full power or above the line, all of those mean the same thing. Then issues get resolved permanently. How do you know when you're in hero mode? Well, in hero mode, you're going to be feeling some sensations of being below the line. There's a little sense of tension that's very, very, very subtle, that it can be very subtle. It actually can be quite large. But your mindset is, I want to get away from this feeling. And the way that you are going to tend to try to get away from it is you'll look for that suffering inside or outside of yourself, but try to tackle it, right? Instead of feeling helpless, you'll say, I'm going to make this go away. So the critical cognitive mistake that the hero makes is assuming that they can control things that are out of their control. In other words, they try to take more than their fair share of responsibility for issues. And you may have worked with somebody like this. I know that in many companies, there's a person who's kind of a fixer, and they swoop in to solve any issue around them. And it may or may not be within their role, within their job description at all. And sometimes they're doing this from a place above the line, but often they're also doing it from a place below the line. So we're doing it below the line if we're just trying to make everyone kind of shut up and make the problem go away. This behavior happens a lot at home too. One of the ways that I've seen myself hero that I'm really, really, really trying to work on, I love you, honey, Roy, if you're listening, I really am really trying to work on this, is that when I see any kind of conflict happening in the house, whether it's between my husband and one of my children, there's, some discipline happening that I wasn't there to witness what happened beforehand, or maybe my kids are fighting, I like to jump in and interject. Actually, like to is not even the right description. I feel I have to, which is a clear sign that I'm below the line. Have to is below the line language. And I just want them to stop fighting, and I want them to be nice to each other, and I want them to speak low, as I imagine that I did when I was young. May or may not be true. And I try to control the situation, and I try to control my children and their feelings. And sometimes I try to control my husband. And raise your hand wherever you are if you also do this. and this can happen in the family. It can also happen at work, where we're just trying to make the problem go away. Now, of course, me jumping in and resolving a conflict between my children does not resolve the issue permanently, because they didn't learn anything. They didn't learn how to resolve conflicts on their own. I didn't let them get with the discomfort that is needed for them to be willing to let go of whatever it is that they're feeling right about or attached to or whatever, and to actually work out a resolution with each other. So I'm denying them that opportunity because I can't stand how I feel when I see them feeling a feeling, when I see them feeling sadness, confusion, anger, frustration, stress, and anxiety. It's me avoiding my own body sensations when I do that. It's me avoiding my own feelings. And it becomes so impulsive, because one of the things that brings you below the line is triggers. You get triggered. So clearly I've got something going on that I'm working through. And I definitely do a lot of work around this, of not being willing to witness certain forms of conflict happening between people I love, because it probably triggers some old memory that I truly can't recall. You know me, I would tell you if I could. And so that's kind of what makes it tricky to work on. But I know that I'm triggered because I jump in so fast, I'm not even thinking. Another clear sign that I've left presence, right? This is me heroing. Now I want you to zoom back to a time when you impulsively jumped in to fix a situation that wasn't yours to fix. When's a time when you rushed in to have an answer or make a problem go away, and then you realized there was there's no transformational learning that was happening, no capacity was being built anywhere, there was no change in perspective. It was just a repetition. Like, you've probably tried to solve problems that way all over the place in your whole life for a long, long time. Okay, have you got an idea like that in your mind? Now, I want you to really get with, how temporary was the relief? How quickly did your own inner sense of relief go away? The nature of some hairy issues is we jump. This happens to me sometimes. Actually, this was happening the other day as we were planning out some of the podcast stuff. We were realizing we wanted to change the order of episodes, and so I got really zoomed into like, what should the order be? And I thought this was going to be like a 2-second task, like change 2 cells in a spreadsheet. And then that, one thing led to another. And little by little, I would have a little sense of relief. And then I would see a new problem, a new thing that needed to be addressed. And then the relief would go away. And then I would rush to get more relief by changing another thing. I just kept changing it. Oh my gosh, I was driving myself crazy. I literally said to Heather, I was like, Heather, stop me, help, I can't stop. I was just so zoomed in. Yeah, so the relief can be exquisitely temporary. And that is part of what makes it so excruciatingly addictive. And we get so hooked on our particular forms of heroing. When we hero, it's because we believe on some level, consciously or non-consciously, that we will be rewarded for that behavior. Specifically, we believe that we will feel better because of whatever it is that we undertake, our deeds. Or maybe we believe others will feel better. Feeling better is the big theme here in hero mode. When we're in hero mode, we're seeking out rewards, right? We're seeking out to make the problem go away, the sensations go away. And what we're looking for all the time in hero mode is, what's the next problem I can fix? Ooh, I love that feeling. I love that relief feeling. That feels good. What's the next person I can save? What's the next problem I can concentrate on in my life? Where else do I need to be improved as a leader? Many of you might sometimes describe yourself as a seekaholic, who can't stop improving thyself and seeking. And also, there's a way that from above the line, we can be committed to a path of seeking. We can be in devotion to on the path of consciousness, which is a very different thing. It looks like the same behavior on the outside, but the context is different. So as a reminder, and we've talked about this in many episodes, when we are below the line, we can do the same exact behavior as we would do above the line, but our context is different. Our context is one of drama and powerlessness. We get into hero mode when we are drifting from presence. And there's specific ways that we like to drift from presence when we're in hero mode. And here are some examples, but everyone has their own favorite ways to drift from presence when they're in hero mode. When I say drift from presence, I mean avoid your feelings, avoid reality, avoid taking responsibility for the thing that's actually yours to fix and not the thing that's actually out of your control or out of your realm of responsibility. All right, so here's some of the favorite ways to drift from presence. It might be indulging in food or drugs. Perhaps you're always needing to have another cup of coffee every time you feel sad, or another cookie, another glass of wine. It might be organizing, as I've shared with you before. This is my favorite way to hero. I love organizing. You know, I'm in drama when I've been organizing things for hours and hours on end and really getting hardly anywhere, but I love it. And my label maker is well used. Achieving is a really popular one for many of you, I'm guessing, as many of you are very high achievers and leaders in many different areas of your life. This form of achieving is when we're achieving specifically to get approval from others. So we can have a lot of achievements in our life that are done out of a sense of commitment to a cause, something that we really believe in, something that we highly value. And we're doing it just for doing it itself. And it matters to us. And then there's another form of achievement, which is, I hope you notice all these good things that I did. Now, there's nothing wrong with seeking appreciation. Humans need appreciation. We need a sense of belonging and approval. But when we are achieving from below the line, we're going to know it's different because it actually drains our energy over time. This is a lot of the stuff if you didn't attend my Zone of Genius webinar, which was a live webinar I did a few months ago. If you're not familiar with Zone of Genius and what I'm talking about there, go back and listen to episode number 4, where we initially introduced that concept. And I actually walk you through an interactive exercise where you can begin to discover what's your zone of genius. What's that place where you go into flow and you get energy and you're fully alive and it's easy for you to create value for yourself and others versus the other zones, such as excellence or competence or incompetence. Heroing is relevant to this because we often hero by moving into our zones of excellence, competence, or incompetence. And those are the places where if we keep doing it, we will be unfulfilled, frustrated, burnt out, overwhelmed, you name it. They are not life-giving places for us. So for instance, for me, one of my zones of excellence is, you guessed it, organizing. So I love organizing partly because I'm sort of a disorganized person on the inside by nature. I'm very artistic and creative and flowy, and things don't naturally fit into boxes for me. I kind of have to force them in, but I love how it looks when they're in there. And I know that other people can understand it better. So I tend to really gravitate towards that zone of excellence where other people are going to say, ooh, I get it. Wow, cool. A certain degree of zone of excellence is necessary, but I'd be heroing if I was spending all of my time there, or like spending my time there specifically to get approval from others. I hope that's clear. So, all right, I got kind of off. There's a perfect example. See, I got kind of off. I started going into flow, and then I was like, I really want to tell you the number of this episode. Then I opened up a spreadsheet, and you should see it. I have a lot of screens open right now, and I'm going to go back. So I was talking about favorite ways to drift from present. So this can include indulging in food and drugs, organizing, achieving for approval. We already covered those. Caretaking, consuming content, whether it's television, internet, games, even reading, anything. Overworking is a great hero move. You get the payoff of getting a lot done and getting a lot of approval, and then you get the double whammy payoff of being exhausted, which is a great way to numb out and not feel your feelings. Looking interested in something so that somebody else will feel good, doing everything right so you can pat yourself on the back about that and focus just on the rightness of it instead of on the actual impact. Procrastinating, withdrawing, figuring things out, listening to gossip, overpromising. All of these things are ways to hero. And we actually take on different personas. And just like we did in the victim and villain episode, I'm going to teach you about a couple of these personas. I'll tell you about a few, and then you can go to caneel.com/podcast to access a quiz where you can figure out which of these personas do I love to show up as when I'm in hero mode. And you can even share it with a friend and have them do it for you so you can find out how do others see you showing up. It's a great way to identify your blind spots. If you're a person who loves getting busy and loves fixing, saving, and helping, you are going to free up so much energy when you are able to distinguish between acting out of hero mode versus acting out of power and consciousness. Here are the personas. So a couple of my favorites, Energizer Bunny. This is the one who says, I'll do it. And all they need to trigger them into that mode is somebody who doesn't pick up the task right away, somebody who passes the buck. They love to think that other people are not picking up their weight, but often it's because they swoop in and they take up all the tasks first. Then there's the cheerleader who wants to tell everybody that they can do it. And they have a belief that people around them lack confidence and need a boost and need encouragement. And so they hero. And if you've ever been the recipient of that kind of cheerleading, it doesn't always feel good. In particular, if they've misread the situation and you actually are feeling quite confident and then someone's just overdoing it and trying to boost you, it doesn't always feel great. And that's because we have this sense that it's coming from below the line. Okay, two more. So the good listener is the one who, oh my gosh, this is so how I used to be. All right. So the good listener, I'm just realizing this now, is the one who can listen to anybody and they understand everybody's perspective. Now, this is part of my superpower as a coach, but when I do it below the line, what happens to me is I get trapped or I imagine that I'm trapped. And I also imagine I'm doing a really good deed by continuing to listen. So I'm that person who every single time I take a plane ride, if I'm open to engaging and I show it, which typically that's how I used to fly. I would just be really open to engaging. Somebody very unusual would sit next to me and then over the course of the plane ride, no matter how long, would tell me their life story or the horrible circumstance that they're currently in or about some kind of thing they're obsessed about. And I would be so uncomfortable feeling the feeling of, I don't want to talk to them right now. I really had planned on reading something or writing something. I'd feel so shameful about that thought. And that shame was so uncomfortable. I wasn't willing to feel that feeling because I knew I wasn't willing to tell them no. And so then I would just sit there and I would keep listening and I would even get deeper in and I would invite more and more and more of their story. I was sharing this with a friend and I was thinking to myself, well, this is just what happens to me because I'm a coach and people can tell that I'm open-minded. And so they tell me their story. And then I started realizing like, it kind of drains me. After I've been doing a really long day of facilitation or speaking, or maybe I'm at a retreat and I'm doing my own self-work, I'm getting on that plane usually kind of, I'm finally going home and it's a place where I have an opportunity to recover. And instead, then it's kind of like I've signed up for a couple more hours of really intense work. And it wasn't my conscious choice to get into these conversations. So my friend said, you do this on purpose. Thank you, Jen, for telling me this. And she was quite right. So actually, I don't think at the time I really believed it, but I thought it was a pretty good hypothesis because there's no other way that this could happen. And that's, we are the creators of our own reality. So the next time I got on a plane, I decided I was going to just see what it was like to not engage, to not be the first person to speak, to not even to say like, hi, or nice bag, which is often what I would do. And maybe to even allow myself to just be in a private space and not make a bunch of eye contact and go straight into my thing and allow myself to send some signals that right now, this is my private time and I'm not here to engage. I'm here to be alone and to recover and to do some reading and to rest. And the second I tried that, it worked. And not that I felt like there was a problem, but I noticed that I was coming home with so much more energy, so much more recovered from my trip away from my family that I realized, wow, that really was a lot of heroing I was doing. So that's one of the ways that I've heroed. I've shared those. I really would love to hear your favorite hero moves. This is such a game changer, especially if you are a high achiever or a growth-oriented person, which I know you are. That's why you're here. So please join our Aloud Community Facebook group. It's a closed community. It's a safe place where you will be joined by others like you who also are striving to be conscious leaders and share the results of your quiz. The quiz, again, is available at caneel.com/podcast. And let us know about your favorite ways to hero. You get bonus points if you upload a little video of you acting it out or a little drawing of you acting out that persona or maybe a photo. Tag Aloud Podcast. And you can get links to all of these things, again, at the website. So you can join the Facebook group there, caneel.com/podcast. I can't wait to see if you love to Peter Pan or cheerlead or firefight or flatter or be the Energizer Bunny or be a peacemaker, a protector, an analyzer, a multitasker, a provider, a good parent, or just a really nice guy. We all have our favorite modes. It's awesome to recognize what they are. The moment we know we're in drama, that's our first opportunity to shift. So the goal is not to avoid being in drama. The goal is to notice as many times as possible that you are in drama. Most of the time, it's a pretty good bet that you are. So that's awesome. There are so many opportunities to learn here. And one of the magical things that happens when you stop heroing is everyone around you begins to have an opportunity to be responsible. It's called creating space. It's a game changer for leaders, especially if you're in that earlier stage, small company, just beginning to grow, where you're realizing it's not sustainable anymore for you to do everything, to wear every hat, to be an individual contributor with a CEO title or, a manager title. No, it's time to finally now be a leader and a manager and have that be your primary mode. When you can stop heroing and step back, it might mean that some things need to change, that some things are not going to get done. Some things aren't going to get done the same way. But in that space, consequences can begin to be felt by the entire system, not just yourself. And when the consequences can be felt, there's learning. The good news is, even if things get messed up, you can't mess up. You can't mess it up when you're approaching life as a learner. There might be consequences, and the guarantee is that you will learn. And that's why I know you are here. I honor you so much for creating time and space to be here. You being here, I know, has an impact on your life, and that impact ripples out and is felt around you by others. You have impact that you are not even aware of, and that's what this journey is all about, is helping you to discover all of the areas where you have the capacity to be a creative, powerful, impactful person. Now is the part of the show where we take a question from one of our listeners. So this is a listener who's listened to every episode and has been learning about the drama triangle outside of this as well, and has sent in a really good question about heroing. Heather, can you read us the question?
How can I tap into my feelings without feeling threat when I'm in hero mode?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love this question. Okay, so how can I tap into my feelings without feeling threat when I'm in hero mode? Great question. So in hero mode, I'm guessing you've discovered that you're in hero mode. Okay, I'm heroing all over the place. I must be trying to avoid feeling my feelings. You know that because you're in hero mode. Is there a way that's safe for me to feel my feelings where I won't feel threat? Because I know if I stop heroing, I'm going to feel that threat. The whole reason I'm heroing is to avoid feeling the threat. It's a guarantee that if you stop heroing and you are still in drama and you feel your feelings, you will be feeling feelings related to the threat at first. And those feelings most likely it's a level of sensation or a level of energy that you are not comfortable feeling because you're not accustomed to it. It's not going to hurt you. Your thoughts, if your thoughts keep feeding the feeling, then you can ramp that feeling up, like up, 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 up. However, if you can just simply tune into the pure body sensations of the feeling and stay with them and track them, knowing that it's a feeling that's moving through your body. It's not a feeling that just is there. It's moving through you. So picture it's like a wave. At first, it might feel subtle. And then if you really track it, you find it's going to grow and then it's going to crest. And then it will slowly dissipate and another feeling will arise to replace it. And we often will revert back to the feeling of joy. That's the good news. Or it might turn into another feeling. We often have a lot of feelings that could go back to back and we need to process. The way to stop feeling the threat while you're feeling the feels is to stop thinking about it. And this is the work. So it may be impossible in that moment to stop thinking about the threat because it's staring you right in the face and you are terrified. And so, of course, your mind is going to bring attention to that which seems like a genuine, huge threat. And in fact, there may be true consequences of not solving the problem, not heroing in that moment. From there, you can make a choice. You might feel authentic fear. You might feel real fear. And it's not created by a story. It's created by a reality. There is a bear walking my way, coming to get me. In that case, you can feel fear above the line as well. And you can say, I'm going to make a conscious move here. I prefer to stay alive. Remember, above the line, we feel our own preferences. I prefer to stay alive, and my fear is here to help me. The wisdom of my fear is there's something here I don't know. There's something here for me to learn. And so we're going to notice that with that fear, our awareness is really high. We are noticing a lot of things about the environment. We're noticing subtle moves on the bear's face. We're noticing his hair. We're noticing, okay, there's an exit, there's an exit. If we're above the line, our awareness is broad enough that we can actually find the exit. Not a guarantee that you will escape the bear, of course, but you'll be much more likely to find the exit. If you are in a state of threat and panic, and you are below the line in drama and you're going to just try to make the problem go away, you might be really zoomed into that bear, run exactly away from him, and then he goes straight after you. I don't really know how bears work. Don't take any of this as actual bear advice, please. Luckily, that's never happened to me. But the point is, you're going to feel your feelings. Your thoughts are what feed your feelings. You need to let the feeling move through you. Eventually it will dissipate. And what I've learned is that emotions, if you really allow them to fully peak and move through without trying to control the feeling or move away from it, it only lasts 90 to 120 seconds max. For most people, 90 seconds max if you allow it to fully peak. And whether or not you can achieve this in the first try, second try, the 100th try, it doesn't mean anything about you. It's a practice. Feeling your feelings is a practice. And each of us has our own feeling we like to move away from most. So really, really good question. Remember that threat is a story. There are feelings created by the story, and you are the story maker. All right, so thanks for being here. Please go download the quiz. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the podcast in iTunes or your favorite player. Links to all of those are on the website. And definitely come and join us in the Aloud Community Facebook group. And I really look forward to seeing your hero moves there. Talk to you next week. Aloud. For more information, check out my website, Caneel.com/podcast. CANEEL. Caneel.com/podcast, where you can find tons of resources, new episodes, show notes, transcripts, videos, all that good stuff to deepen your learning experience. Also, follow me on social. Send me your feedback there. Ask me your questions. I'm Caneel.is on Instagram and @Caneel on Twitter. Aloud. You are allowed to be whole.